Good morning, everyone. Streaming again. Let me know if you can hear me well, see me well. I'm Yuri, and we're gonna code some weird animation with OGL framework today. I'm in Hollywood this morning. It's kind of hot here. You can already see the website we're gonna be breaking down today on the small preview. Hey, do you see the video streaming? This is obligatory step in streaming because I'm never sure anybody else sees this video and hears me out. I'm in Kiev. Okay. So I presume you can see me now. Hey everybody. Let's get started then. I have a lot to do today. It's kind of hard animation because I'm gonna be using the framework that I've barely used myself, but I like it. So I'm gonna break down this website. It's called Genes for Refugees, and this is the animation I'm looking at. One of my Patreon subscribers asked me to break this down, and I thought it's a nice one. You can see that there's a lot of small things and they're all moving, but they're all in the shape of some text, and then you have this cool animation like on a mouse over effect and then on scroll. I'm not gonna do all of them, but I think I'm gonna recreate the coolest one, like this one on the mouse over effect. So let's get started. I'm gonna be using the OGL framework. You know, I always used the 3JS framework in my streams, but this time this animation have been done with OGL, and I decided I should try OGL myself. I actually like it so far. So OGL framework, it's called just OGL, OFrame/OGL. And then, oh, thank you guys. And good morning to everyone. Okay, so it's developed by Nathan Gordon. I advise you to subscribe to this guy because, well, he's a developer of this framework and he shares lots of cool stuff. And among this stuff is stuff related to the OGL, and OGL is being developed right now. I think it's alpha or something. Yeah, it's currently in alpha. Expect breaking changes, but that's okay. I think we shouldn't expect them in the following hour, so I have some time to do some stuff. All right, and this is Nathan Gordon account, so yeah, I gave all the credits. He's a cool guy, and this is a cool framework. And let's see the examples. And I'm gonna be using parcel today, so I'm gonna create the folder. I'll call it OGL. I'll open it up in a Sublime. I'll create the simplest structure. Then I need the JS folder, an app.js file, and there we go. We can run the parcel now. I'll get to that folder. Okay, there's a bunch of cool examples already on the official website of the OGL library. There's a draw mode. You can load objects just like you can do that in a 3JS. Of course, this is not as developed and as maintained as 3JS because 3JS is more than 10 years old, I guess now. And it's been some time now. There's a lot of maintainers, and this one, I think just a couple of guys supporting this one, but already lots of cool stuff here. We have a cube map, matcaps, anything you can imagine. Okay, so what I'm gonna start with, I'm gonna start with simple primitives. I'm gonna use just the plane, and it's quite easy to copy the examples of the OGL framework. I'm gonna just go ahead and copy all the code here. I'm gonna just insert this one into my file. but instead of importing from the index, I'm going to import from the OGL. And parcel should just download the npm model for me. Alrighty, let's start. And I'm just wondering, how does it add itself into the web page? Yeah, it's just document body append child, so I don't need to add any divs. So I can just start it all. Let's see. OGL because I like to try new stuff. I like to challenge myself with new stuff. Okay, I'm gonna close Nathan Gordon accounts. Okay, change for refugees, I'm gonna leave it. So yeah, there we go. This is already localhost 1, 2, 3, 4. This runs on my computer, so as easy as it gets. Just copy paste in the whole example. I think it works the same way, pretty much the same way with the 3JS examples. But anyway, so first of all, I'm gonna fix a bit camera position, all this stuff. Yeah, so now it's right in the center. I'm gonna remove all the objects that I don't really need for this stream. I just need a plain geometry. And just so you remember, we are doing this. That's what we are trying to create. Also, while we are here, I think I'd like to download if you go into the network and see which images that they're using. So they're using some kind of tiles here, tile PNG, Kate Moss. Okay, let's download Kate Moss. Emma Watson. She used to be a front-end developer, you know. You can check out the Wikipedia article about that. Just gonna copy paste 2 images here, and I'm gonna import them with parcel. It's gonna be T1, 1 PNG. I'm gonna need them a bit later, but just so I don't forget about them, I'm gonna import them. Alrighty, what's the next step? I just want to see a simple plain object in the center of my screen rotating. Do I have it? Not yet. Why? Because cylinder is not defined. Yes, the first difference, you can see that instead of adding childs, you actually set parents in OGL. I don't see anything dangerous about that. Where is the cylinder again? I think I just have to restart parcel. Cached JavaScript, something like that. Nope. Where does it see this cylinder? Set parents. But I just deleted. Okay, I just didn't save it. I think my keyboard got stuck again. So now we have the plane. With the plane, we actually, I think we can. Let's just break down first like what we have in this OGL starting template at all. So we import a bunch of stuff from the OGL, then we have 2 shaders, just like in majority of my streams we have those 2 shaders, and those are just the basic ones. And then we have a renderer, just like in the 3JS. We have something appended to the DOM, just so we see the canvas. We have camera positioned somewhere and looking at some point in a 3D space. We have orbit, just like the orbit controls for the 3JS. So I can actually rotate this one, zoom, just what we need. Some resize function, so it's getting resized. Scene is actually transform object, which makes sense if you ever wondered how it all works in a native WebGL. Then we have this plain geometry primitive, and then we have program, which is essentially what we call material in a 3JS, because it incorporates the vertex and fragment shaders, and it calls program because it has the same name in a native WebGL, so it kind of connects closer to the native WebGL naming than the 3JS. And then we create the mesh, just like we do in the 3JS, and set parent for this mesh, the scene. And that's it. Simple as that. So it's actually almost the same as the 3JS starting template, but a bit different. All right, so the next thing I'd like to do, I want to create, I want to change size. First, I want to change size of my plane geometry object, and I think I can do that just setting some optional options. So when I create plane geometry here, I can do something like this, like 0.5 and 0.5 height. Yeah, so it's already smaller than that, and we can make it even smaller just to see that it's working. Yeah, it does. We can also set I think it's called width segments, which is the detailization of the plane, because right now it's just 2 triangles, but we might need more in this stream. And the height segments, and the height segments better be 5 for now. What else? That's it, I think. To see the wireframe geometry, I'm not really sure for now what's the best way to do that, but at least we can change the draw modes. It has already the draw modes coming from the native WebGL, and we can set the draw mode to lines just to see the points in space that we are using to do this plane. So we can do the line loop. It's mode line loop, and we should set that for the mesh. I should find the mesh. Where's that mesh? Right here. So if I set this mode GL line loop, I'm gonna see lines. Yeah, this is what we see. It's actually 5 segments on one axis and 1 segment on the other axis. And just so we see that it's working good, we can do this, and yeah, we'll see this. So it's not actually wireframe geometry, but I think it's a bit more complicated with the wireframe type of geometry here, and we have it here, but you need to create some other objects. Maybe not. Yeah, I think you just need to, you need to mess a bit with the vertices so it connects with the line loop correctly. But I don't care about that for now. It's good enough for me just to see that it's working. So I'll create the, for example, 10 segments on one axis and 1 segment on the other axis. And I'm gonna remove this mode for now. So what we have right now, we have just single plane geometry object in its 3D space, and we need to create this. So first of all, we need some instancing. And to create instancing, it's quite easy. First, we need to create some coordinates for our instances, which starts with that. Better with pixel displacement filter in JSAP. Well, I'm not sure how you can create with the tools you just mentioned this, because it's kind of, well, surely you can simulate that, but what about this? I'm not sure I can do that with the pixel displacement filter. All right, go ahead. I need to create instances. To create instances, I need to create positions. And because I'm using this just bare-bone example from the website, I'm gonna do something like this, adding objects. Like actually adding objects, because the other code is also kind of adding something. And I'm gonna do this weird old school commenting like this. And they're gonna be something like an finishing adding object, like here. Because all the rest of the code I don't care about, it's just setting up the scene, setting up the objects, camera, and all the stuff. Alrighty, so first of all, I'd like to use instances. And there's actually a nice example for the instancing on the original website. And it's quite easy to copy paste what they're doing here. So this is how we use instancing. We need to set some attributes for the geometry, and because I'm not using, this is a like kind of buffer geometry object from the 3JS. I'm using the primitive, so I already have like the position, UV, and normal. I only need to add these ones. So let's just add these ones to my plane geometry object. I'm gonna create attributes. I have this F offset and random, and let's just see how they actually creating that offset and random. So they have the number of objects, and then they have the flow authority arrays with a corresponding number of values, and then we just set those values in a loop. So, well, I could actually written this code myself, but I see no point in that for now. I'm gonna create it at the start of my adding objects part in my code. So let's for now have the 20 instances. Then we have this offsets as just random values between -1 and 1, and then same goes for the random, but just random just between the 0 and 1. All right, so we have this offset, we have this random. Now we need to use them here. Offset, random, and now I can do something like this. And let's see if we see anything. Yeah, and we actually have instances right like that. Simple as that. It's rotating. I don't like this. Makes me feel weird. Okay, so there we go. We have instances. And just so you know, we can actually have, I think we can actually have like 200,000 of them. Okay, I have an FPS drop, but I think it's mostly because they have been overlapping too much here. So maybe 20,000 is enough. Yeah, I have steady 60 FPS with the 20,000 objects. That's okay for me. I don't think I need that much today. So let's stick with 200 for now. So just 200 of planes right here on my screen. I think I also need to make them a bit smaller. I don't need them that big. All right, so the next thing. Where do we start here? Let's colorize them according to the color scheme. Let's start with a nice color palette. Let's call palettes. I import that into my library. Then I'm gonna, how do they propose to use it? Okay, I'm gonna create the random value equals math floor, math random, multiplied by 100, and then palette equals, I think it's this way, equals what? Equals colors, red. Let's see if we have it. Yeah, there we go, we have the color scheme. Now I need to use it somehow in my shaders. So first of all, I want to convert the hex value to RGB with the JavaScript. I'm gonna use some function for that, hex to RGB, here is it. Let's make it spaghetti code. I'm gonna just copy paste it right here, and then I'll call this P, and the actual palette. What's wrong with this double L? It's gonna be P map color, and then hex to RGB color, and then let's see what inside this palette now. Now I have the objects for the RGB values, and I think I also kind of want to divide them all by 255, 56, 55. And then we're going to have the decimal RGB values that are actually ready to use inside the shaders. Now that's good. Now when I'm actually creating objects, I want to create the color array, and then inside this color, I'm going to fill it with. So first of all, I'm going to pick the random color from those 5 colors that I already have, and it's going to be. Let's call it color, and it's going to be what? It's going to be palette, and then math floor, math random multiplied by 5. So this number runs between 0 and 4. It's exactly what we need to pick the index, to pick the random index of the color. And then what else? Now I can just set the color. This is gonna be color R G B. Now I need to use this color in here. Now I need to declare it here, and then I can color. You have to make a bunch of steps to use it in a fragment shader. Okay, color equals color, and then to use it inside the fragment shader. Finally, I can do something like this. I don't actually need these both lines. I don't care about that. It's gonna be color, and alpha channel is just 1. So color set is not a function because I messed up at some point. Colors, let's call it colors because yeah, because I'm using the same name 2 times here. And here it's gonna be colors. And it's good now. And let's see, yeah, we have those shapes colored according to the color scheme now. And when I'm going to be refreshing, it's going to be different, but still beautiful color scheme. All right, getting there, right? So we have small objects in the space. Where the fuck is that? Okay, we have small objects in the space. We have them colored according to some color scheme. All right, getting closer. So then we should remember that we have those 2 textures, and let's try to use them. Are you being overwhelmed by the number of steps I'm taking here? Textures. I think I'd rather copy paste an example of how they use textures in the OGL. And well, I should say the examples for the OGL are quite handy, and well, they're very useful, and it's quite easy to get into the OGL development to the examples. So there we go. This is how you upload the texture with the OGL. So I'm gonna upload 2 textures right before I'm creating all those numbers. So it's going to be texture 1, and as I remember, it's called T1. Then I'm going to do the same for the second texture. It's going to be texture 1, T2, image 1, image 1. Okay, now we have 2 variables like texture 1. Okay, we gotta set them at the uniforms. Not attributes, but the uniforms right here, like the same way you set them with the 3JS inside material. And it's gonna be okay, uStart. It's a nice way to prefix all your uniforms with U, so you don't mess them with the attributes and all the other stuff in your shader. So it's gonna be value texture and value texture 1. All right. Frame motion? No, I haven't tried that. What's that, by the way? Oh, it's something with the framer, right? But this is mostly for the designers, I think, not for the developers. And I'm the guy who writes code, so you know, it's easier for me to start this template with OGL than to learn the like optimized animations. I need to look into that. Maybe I just don't know what you're talking about completely. my guess was that it can somehow relate it to the framer. Okay, we have those two textures, and I think I'd rather also add a transition, some transition, which is going to be 0 by default. And this is the moment I think I'd like to add the .3 GUI framework here. Not actually a framework, but a tool to use sliders to control my animations. So let's have some settings file, which is gonna be and I'm gonna have the GUI, and then I'm gonna control the setting objects, and I'm gonna use transition here from 0 to 1 with the step 100. And then I can just set this in uniform here, program, uniforms, do transition, value equals settings transition, right? Did I call it transition here? Okay, I did. I'd rather move this step a bit lower into the shaders. Now let's see what we have, because I've been blindly coding. Texture is not defined because, yeah, I need to export texture from the OGL. Should be good now. Okay, it's kind of good now. I'm exporting textures. I just want to check if I do have them. Yeah, Kate Moss and Emma Watson are there. And okay, getting there. So the next step, I'd like to filter my particles, so I only see the particles which correspond to those two images that I've just uploaded. But that to use, I will need some texture coordination, coordinates on my screen, and for them to be present, I think my objects are too scattered on my screen, like I need to zoom out all the time. I think I'll make them kind of closer on my screen. And to do that, I'll just multiply those offset values. So I don't need them scattered in a 3D space actually, because the objects in original animations are kind of flat. So when I'm going to be setting this offset, let's just do something like this. Y, and this one is going to be 0, and then I'm going to use X and Y right here, and it should be the same, but I'm going to multiply this one by 0.5 for example. So now they're closer to each other, and they mostly fill in my screen with the camera settings I picked. And well, if I do them like a 3000 maybe, what's this number, like 2000, so it's going to be filling more and more in my screen. Now you see these artifacts, and to do this I have the random value, so I think I can I'm always trying to get to another tab to edit my shaders, but I have them right inside my JavaScript for now. Okay, so I need to use my textures and somehow filter those particles, so I only see the particles that are on my screen. To do that, I need to use some kind of UV coordinate system on my screen, and to use this coordinate system I need to calculate it, because this coordinate system that I have here right now doesn't include that. So I want some values between 0 and 1 which correspond to position of the particle on my screen, and this is going to be a new attribute. It's called texture coord. It's going to be 2-dimensional. I don't need 3 dimensions. I'm going to set it right here. So X and Y runs between this value between -1 and 1, this value between 0.5, minus 0.5 and 0.5. So I need to do this. And then these values will run between 0 and 1. Yeah, right. Well, I think that's it. So we can try this, but it's going to be offset, it's going to be texture coord, and then I'll need to add this texture coord here. This side is 2, texture coord. Then I need to run it here. And now, well, it's still working, I have no errors. Now I can try to use my textures inside my vertex shader. And what's it gonna be? So I only need a value 0 or 1, like whether I should show the particle or I should not. And to do that, let's do the use start. I'm going to be using 2 textures because I have the start and the end position. I'm going to be doing animation. Hopefully I can manage to do that. Get in there. It's going to be texture 2D for the, and I also need to set the uniforms for the textures. Sampler 2D, it was U start and U end textures that I already set in my uniforms beforehand. It's going to be U start what? Alpha. It's going to be U start texture and this texture coord. And I just want to take the red channel because I don't really need all the others. And I need to set some variant V alpha, which I can use in my fragment shader. So I can, like if V alpha discard. So now I have this V alpha. I'm going to set this V alpha to U start alpha. So I'm going to be using this V alpha as a red channel from my texture, which I calculate according to the coordinate of each particle right now. Yeah, hey Kita. So hopefully when I save this file right now, we're gonna see the text. Well, I think we do see it. Maybe I should make particles, number of particles a bit bigger, like 20,000. And yeah, we have the Emma Watson right now. Because we're filtering all the particles that are not inside the white part of the image right now. To make it, I'm not sure if it matters, but I think it's kind of better to do this like this, with the function step. So it's only 0 or 1 right now. All right, and I have this transition value as well. It doesn't change anything for now, but let's wait. Also, to get rid of this small bug, kind of want to do this position z equals random z multiplied by, oh, sorry for that. Yeah, no, so it's working correctly. We have them separated a bit in its 3D space. Okay, we have the Emma Watson. What's next? We need to have those particles with different sizing, and we need to somehow control, like with animation, control their curviness and their movement and all this stuff. So first of all, let's try to randomize their sizing. Right? Is this where I want to start? And by the way, we can right now we can do the U end alpha, U end, and then we can use the alpha as a maximum between U start alpha and U end alpha. So that means that the particle is going to be either shown or not, depending on whether it's should be shown in the next image right now. All right. So now we're gonna have 2 texts at the same time. Yeah. It's Emma Watson and Kate Moss written with the particles at the same moment. So maybe I should do it a bit differently. Where's Vine? Oh, I mean W-I-N-E, because wine is actually another thing. Okay. So I think this V alpha is actually something that whether we should show this particle for start or whether we should show it for the end. Not really getting us in the transition. So let's call it show, not let, but the plot show. And actual V alpha is gonna be show multiplied, and we're gonna mix those two values. So we're gonna mix, like, so the particle should be hiding if it's not gonna be present on the next image. And it should stay the same if it's present here and here. If both values are 1, it's going to just stay there. And use hue transition here. So this V alpha will transition between 0, 1 values depending on whether the particle should be on the next image. Let's try it. Okay, I have some errors here, probably. You transition undeclared identifier, because why? Because I just didn't declare it. Okay, mix, because you transition should be float. Okay, should be good now. So now I have the Emma Watson. And if I move the slider, it just at some point it just turns to be Kate Moss. So we kind of have the simplest transition we could have here, but let's make it more complicated. Hey everyone, okay. How do I make it more complicated? So I need a bunch of stuff. First I need to randomize the length and width of the particles. Then I need to maybe rotate them randomly because they are being, where is the site? Okay, they've been randomly rotated and they've been like wavy like that. And then I need to do this animation like this one. Okay, where do I start now? Let's start with the length and width of the, like the length and the height of those particles. So I'm going to introduce I'm going to just do it like this so I don't forget about this. Rotate and what? I need to remember what else should I do there. So I need to calculate the scale for my particles. If I just multiply like position X with some number for now. Oh. What happened? V normal syntax error, why? Oh, because I forgot that. Okay. So that's what we're going to have if I just multiply the position by some number. This is quite a big number, you know. If I multiply by something like 2, so we're going to have them like 2. If I multiply the y coordinates, I'm going to have them verticals. So okay, so I need to have some random values. I actually already have some random values, so maybe I should just multiply like let's do something like scale, and let's make it what? Let's make it what? I want to control this scale, so I need to uniform. So it's going to be uniform, not varying, but the uniform U line width. And I kind of want to use it here, line width, and then use it here, and then here. So it's some value between 0 and 1. And I keep updating it in a loop all the time. And I want to control this one here. So I'm going to use the mix between random x random y multiplied by 5, for example. This is a mix between two values. One value is kind of small, between 0 and 1, and another value is between 0 and 5. So when I'm going to be using this, I'm going to be changing uline width. I'm going to be changing the width of my lines, right? So then I would just need to multiply y coordinate with this scale parameter. But this scale parameter might be kind of small, so maybe I should, let's just see. Okay, because I forgot uline width, random, what's the error? Cancel the property value of undefined, because maybe I didn't declare the uniform here. Uline width. Okay, yeah, it actually looks kind of weird now. I like it though, but it's not what I expected to see. Maybe I should not use random values, because I'm already using them for the coordinate system, and maybe I should just use something else, like line width, and then I need to declare it right here. Yeah, you need to do a lot of this kind of work. Line width. This is attribute, and that is a uniform. And I'm going to use the line width x and y here. And we need to declare it somewhere here. Line width 2. This is somehow something like this. It's going to be math random 2. Which is not random, and then math random multiplied by 5, for example, just what I just used there. And then to attach it, I also attached here. Yeah, now I need to use this parameter right there in my shader. I'm already kind of using it there. So why do I have this weird why are they so thin when they are close to the center of the screen? Hey. Maybe just so I save it from being too thin. Now we have something like that. They're not that different. You know, they're mostly the same proportion. I don't like that. So why the line width is getting so thin? Because the values should be random. It's a random array for the line width. I'm filling it with the random values. And then I'm just using it instanced 1 size 2 line width. Why the fuck are the lines getting so thin when they're getting closer to the center? Oh, maybe I didn't use the attribute, I think. Use it, the line width here. I just did declare it there. But somehow not working yet. Okay, maybe I should at least try to use. And why does it change the position of my particles? Why does the uline width change in the position of my particles? Oh yeah, this is where I did a huge mistake, because I'm already changing the offset here beforehand, and I shouldn't do that until the very end. So position just the position, this is default value, and only then I should use the offset. Yeah, it's gonna be cool now. And now I need to get back to those disproportional values. Let's multiply it by something like 6. Now I can change like the width of the particles, but then I also need to change the, like, I'm changing the height actually right now, but I kind of want to change the width too, and for that I'm gonna line thick, but it's not the attribute, it's gonna be the uniform. So I want to change the thickness of the particles. It's gonna be U line thick, and then I'm gonna use it here, line thick, and then here in my settings as well, line thick, and by default let it be 0.5 line thick, and I should declare it right here as well, and position X will be multiplied by this line thick. Oh, why? Syntax error on line 35 because there's a space. Okay, so now we can try to change the width of the particle and then the height of them. Yeah, now we can control like the sizing of the particles. We can do something like this, which is already beautiful by itself. So the next thing I wanna make them wavy. To make them wavy, I would need to calculate some curviness, and I think I would need to add it to the X coordinate. Curve, just for myself, so I don't get lost in all those code lines. Okay, and the curve, I'm gonna calculate some, which is some float. The curve gonna be equal, it's gonna be some sine, obviously, and this sine, we have the UVs here. I need to just declare them because I have the UV. This should be sine taken from the UV. So let's try that out. This curve, and this value is between 0 and 1 is kind of huge, so I'm already should multiply it by something small. And inside of this stuff, I'm gonna have the UV X. I think X. No, if I'm changing the X coordinate, it should be Y multiplied by 2. So I'm taking the sine function from the vertical value of the vertical position of the each vertex, and then, well, that's it, I guess. It should be just the sine value from this, and then I should add here. And let's see what we have. Yeah, we have all those curves now. And if I just make them wider, starting to be more beautiful. I think we can actually introduce the curviness parameter. We're almost in the end now. And by the way, we still have this transition, right? And still transition Emma to Kate Moss. All right. So I kind of want to add U time here. Do I have a U time? I don't have the uniform U time yet, but I want that, and U curve, U time and U curve. So I need 2 additional parameters. U curve equals to, I don't know, 0.5 for now. And now I need to declare them here. And now I need to set them here. But the U time is going to be something taken from the request animation frame. Okay, it works so far. And now you can see that they're actually moving when the time changes. They're being that wavy kind of images. So the next thing I'd like to do, I want to rotate them randomly, and I can do this kind of change. U curve is not still present in the equation here. I need to multiply this by U curve. I think I kind of want to change the U curve more than that. So now we can do these kind of things. Be beautiful, right? Just being animated the whole time. And this is actually exactly what you see here. So this value is being animated, and that's it. Okay, maybe 30 is the maximum. It's enough. And the last thing I need to add, two last things. I think we can manage to do that under 1 hour. So I need to rotate randomly. So I'm gonna child cell rotate 2D. Yeah, I kind of wanna do this in my shader. I want to use this rotate function, which return and multiply E. So it returns the two-dimensional vector already changed. So that means I need to set somewhere here position xy equals rotate position xy, and then with some angle. And this angle could be just u time for now, multiplied by something small, or maybe big, because it's kind of small value. Let's see. Yeah, they're being rotated like hell. But we need to randomize it one because they're being rotated the same angle right now. So maybe I should come up with some kind of equation. I think I'll try to remember what the guys used on the actual website so we get closer to that. So it's going to be u time something like that, divided by the other random value. This is just something to make it random. It doesn't really matter what numbers I'm using here. Okay. And it's run because random z. So now they're all being randomly rotated because obviously they have the random shift, and they're still being curvy. I can still make them thinner, make them curvy, and that's it. Okay, and the last thing I'd like to do, I kind of want to make the transition. So you can see already how to make all the animations here. It's beautiful, right? So the last thing, the transition between Emma Watson and the Kate Moss. I'm not sure what that would mean in real life, but okay. To do that, I kind of want to animate these offsets. So I don't want to use just this random offset anymore. I'm going to calculate this offset depending on the alpha. How do I do that? Are there any girls? That should be. According to stats on my YouTube channel, I have 1% of the females, subscribers, at least subscribers. I'm not sure they are watching at all. Never know. Yeah, so I wanna use so let's try to first calculate like something like original position of the particle. Let's call it origin, maybe, and it's gonna be equal for the texture chord variable, which we used calculate like which particles should be on the screen, should be present on the screen. And origin, make it like this. Okay, it's working all right, but we need to shift it all. We need to shift it all like this, for example, right? Yeah, now it's in the center. But also I think the proportions are out of hand, so I kind of want to multiply this by... Nope, because of this dot. Yeah, and this is where I kind of want to left and then top, like this. Yes, now I have this exactly as the proportions in my images on my screen. I still can control the thickness, the curviness, width, can do different kind of things here. And transition. Transition is still sucks because I just need to add one last thing. So when I animate alpha, I want to animate this position XY. So when alpha is 1 and stays 1, nothing should change for the particle. So it's going to be 1. So if alpha is 1, nothing is changing. Otherwise, if alpha is being animated between 0 and 1, and that's what we kind of see here, this V alpha is being animated between 0 and 1, we can actually use this V alpha in the fragment shader instead of this. Let's see. Whoa, we have already some GLSL error. Alpha undeclared identifier, which is what? Oh, because it's how did I call it? I said it already. Okay, so I can use V alpha here instead of alpha. I'll use V alpha. Yeah, now if I do this, something is happening, something weird is happening. But all the particles are going the same way because I didn't multiply them with something random. So I need to multiply this with random xy. Now they're going randomly, but in one direction. That's because those values are positive. I need to multiply, subtract. So now we have already kind of transition. I think I already need to set, I also need to set transparency for my object. Okay, it's not there yet. Why? I'm using V alpha here. Oh, because I'm discarding them when V alpha is still 0.5 and they're still kind of transparent. Right now they're gonna be, yeah. Now we have this weird transition between Kate Moss and Emma Watson. I don't even think this transition is present on the actual website, but I kind of wanted to do this. So yeah, there we go. We actually did this animation, and to do like this, you need to just change these parameters, and then you'll get the actual animation. But all the API is still here. Kind of like the look of those texts. Looks cool. What do you think about this, guys? What do you think about OGL? I kind of like OGL because for me it's so straightforward without any other stuff, and the bundle size is also, I think, 4 times smaller than Three.js. Of course, for the complicated stuff you might prefer Three.js, but I'm kind of looking forward to use OGL in my next project already, because half of my streams I think just used shaders, and it's nothing really special about using shaders between Three.js and the OGL. Let's try the GLSL code. Yeah. Kind of gonna spend 2 more minutes and do this animation. Chase up. And then after I created these, I can do and then I also want to do this. I think I will actually put this here. And I want to animate JSUB settings here, and then on complete, I want to again animate JSUB settings here. Oh, what I'm gonna do here? First, I'm gonna also create the speed of animation. Speed, which is equal to 1, for example. Speed of animation. And I'm gonna be adding one is my incomplete. Oh, of course. Yeah, it's here. Also need to add it here. Okay, nothing is being changed for now, but I can change the curviness. Can animate it to 20, and then I can animate it back to 0.5. Okay, now I can animate what I want to animate: line width, thickness of the line to the something small, and then back to 0.5. Then I want to animate the speed to 10, and then back to 1. I think the particles are kind of being I think something is off with the rotation for me. I think I need to do the rotation after I do the curviness. Yeah, just how I was going to do. Yeah, and there we go. We have this animation from the website. Even something cooler than that. I can combine it with something else. Yeah, that's it. I'm gonna finish it on this point. I like this. It looks slick. And it's done so simply, you know, it's just plain objects, Lots of calculations, of course, but it's there. Alrighty, thanks everyone for watching. I'm gonna go with my day. Kinda getting tired of streaming, so some words of support are really appreciated. Otherwise, guys, have a nice day. You can support me on the Patreon if you like what I'm doing. Have a nice day. Stay safe from the coronavirus. Live your life. Be happy. See you in future.